very much welcome to Adapt 2.0. And we trust God that we will gain speed and the Lord will impart on us knowledge in the mighty name of Jesus. We were together on Adapt 1.0. And at that session, we actually looked at certain skills we consider that we will definitely require at such a time like this as we negotiate the times, which indeed has really been tough. But God in his infinite mercies is making it all possible for us to manage through the thick lines. So at that session, we did quite a bit in which we looked at life skills that we can adopt and apply until today. Today, we'll be looking at collaboration and networking for investment opportunities. Are we together? If we're together, please, I want to have a feedback that we're all together.
Yes, we are together.
Oh, thank you very much for that. So we're going to try and see that it's as lively as possible, and while also trying as much as possible to gain good speed. If not for limitation of seeing ourselves, for us to interact, a few questions I will have put across, and that is relative to collaboration and networking. These are two words that almost nearly meaning the same thing, but they convey different and deeper meanings, separate from each other. As we can see right on the screen, from the screen, we can just basically see that collaboration is basically a working together of 2, 3, or more persons, okay, towards a specific task to achieve a defined goal. The key words here is 1, 2, 3 people or more coming together, could be 4 or 5, set at a particular task aimed at achieving a goal. The goal here now could be getting to market, developing an app, create new markets, a specific goal. And the promoter, there will always be the idea muter, the starter, has recognized within himself that I will need the help or assistance or cooperation or partnership involvement of certain other skills that he or she has come to a realization to himself that, no, I do not know it all. For me to get this through, I need other complementary support. And those supports coming on board with the view to pursuing that task and getting it done to achieve the goal is collaboration. Again, collaboration requires specific leadership. And like I've broadly put out here, such leadership could be spiritual. And when I say spiritual, I basically, because this is a Christian forum, as is. Spiritual in the sense that we could actually be looking at someone within the house, especially if all of the cohabiting partners realize that they will need a directional leadership or support of somebody out there who is in the house, might be in the house, might not be in the house, might not be probably in the same house with them, to give them what I may say, quote and unquote, a parental guide, so as to ensure that this drive is achieved. It could be social leadership, political, and trusteeship here is where basically one is looking at 1 or 2 persons and say, hey, we appoint you as trustees to shepherd us, to guide us, to lead us. And their roles and responsibilities are defined. so that at any point in time, say for instance, if there are issues, there are conflict, they know who to meet. So that is collaboration. It is an action of working with someone or some persons to produce or do something. Other synonyms with that is cooperation, alliance, partnership, participation, and what have you. In the case of networking, networking is basically, in terms of business, reaching out. When you reach out to someone, a colleague or somebody senior or a professional, or you are introduced to somebody who indeed has been like an authority or an experienced person, with the view to helping you fulfill a need. Most the need could be information, contact, reach, something technical or administrative or financial, or in all of these, maybe just to link you up. So that is networking. Where people, and such kind of networking or relationship is oftentimes as is just enough or periodical, just within a certain time. It's not as permanent in nature as collaboration. So it could be formal, it could be informal, and can take many different forms. And it always starts with an exchange, information, contact, WhatsApp, business card, and what have you. So what are the relative differences we look at here? As you can easily see, relationship under collaboration is geared towards a common goal. And then there's active involvement of all the parties. It could be formal, it could be informal. We will talk about that later. Agreement is there, has been established to work together. And therefore there is resource pooling. Resource pooling here, we're also going to see it later on very soon. Could be financial, some technical skill. I would like to make an example here. I'm working with one of us in the house now, developing and working on an app. He has recognized that there are certain other skills, certain other competencies he does not have. So he will need to bring them in. That's resource pooling. And there could be another person who basically doesn't have any of those skills, but has the finance to back them up. So that is collaborating. And also that collaboration, benefits are shared, must be expressed, it must be expressly defined, and risks too are shared. We will look at the instrumentality of the governing procedures under collaboration. And in networking, interaction for support or mutual assistance, it's about common interests. For instance, you need to be linked up with manufacturers of face caps in China of a common interest, and not necessarily geared toward a goal. The goal is the end point of a project or an idea or whatsoever. So in this instance, there is someone who needs face cap from China, wants to be connected to manufacturers from China and does not know how to go about that. And somebody links you up to another person who say, oh yeah, I have, is going to be Apple connecting to near Apple, not Apple connecting in that instance to a mango. They are both fruits, but may not be able to really help you. So there must be some sort of common interest. We'll see it later under networking. It's mostly heterosync in the sense that they may not be part of your entire idea structure, but just not much part of it, but a support role as is. And you are reaching out for support. It's not too demanding, oftentimes. It's not too demanding. It's less risky, and gratitude is shared. In some networking, the person you are connecting, if it is something of substantial value, could say, oh, that is it. What is in it for me if I get through this? At that point, it has moved from gratitude to definite compensation. But whatever it is, it must be documented. Accord, collaboration, and networking, there are three critical ingredients that must be present if is found missing, it has the capacity, either of them has capacity to rupture the boat. Trust among all the partners, among all the persons coming to work together. Integrity is key. And that defines the character of each person. If I say I'll be at that meeting, let it be you'll be at that meeting. It's as simple as that. And if I say, yeah, I'm going to do that and expect it from me at 3 o'clock, let your words be your bond. Integrity and transparency. Either parties, either the person you are networking with, there are persons that have networked and it just, no, I don't want to have anything to do with that guy. No, I can't trust him with that. I don't want him in my environment. Transparency is key. Trust, integrity, transparency. Please make sure you note that down. So what collaboration and networking therefore is? Key questions to ask. First, let's look at it's a teamwork, a coming together, a teaming, partnership kind of structure, a relationship information, a mission to be fulfilled, a support required, working all in tandem to deliver a target. And you can spot that target in between relationship and teamwork. It is a coming together, will within the will. But whether for collaboration or for networking, the depth differs, the focus differs, commitment differs. However, it is all about a team formation, formal team formation, informal team formation. So key questions to therefore ask is, why do I need to collaborate? It's an important question. Why do I really need to collaborate? Will it be better for me to go alone or go together? We're going to see the depth of each of these as we move on. Do I have what it takes to work together with others? It is so quick to say, yeah, I'm going to need you in this. Please, will you be ready to join us? Yeah, but as the ship begins to sail, it's going to go through the waters. And upon the waters are going to be many challenges. So do I have what it takes to work together? Do I have what it takes to forbear? Knowing well that there are personality differences, there are individual differences, perception differences, cultural differences, belief differences, emotional differences. A simple word as, you know what? I've done the bit I'm supposed to do, so I don't care however you guys go about the rest. To the person saying, I don't care, not as though he or she doesn't care, but that's just a slang he's been used to. But to a touchy person, a very touchy person, it comes from the angle of, can you imagine? She said, she doesn't care. And you need to see the air with which he said it. Do we have what it takes to work together? I'm going to give 1 or 2 examples as we just go on, because we need to make sure we manage time very well today. Is it to collaborate, or you probably just need a networking? Is it to collaborate? Because I have come in contact with people that comes around and just basically say, oh, yeah, please, we really need your help. And if you can join us, if you can just join us. As a matter of fact, we're ready to make you the chairman. I'm still thinking in my head, we need your help. Then the next blow, if you can join us. Then the next one, in fact, you can be our chairman. Have you thought it through and you really know what you're talking about? You will run the costs just like that. That could be very overwhelming. Maybe all you just need is just a networking. You just want to share knowledge and help for direction. And it's just one-off or just a bit in a moment, and that's it. Not on a continuity. established continuity as is. So, and if so, then that no, I need a collaboration, I need people with me. What type of collaboration? What type? Limited collaboration, unlimited? What type? What form? Just in area of financial or just in area of what? Let everything be different. The collaboration is to a unified goal. And in driving towards a unified goal, it is to bring about all of the varied components into a collective intelligence to drive the established unified goal. I want to be clear that that's well understood. There is a gathering of knowledge from everywhere coming together, all in decentralized inputs. Let me go a bit practical so that it won't look too theoretical. We want to build an app that can cook food without getting to the kitchen. I don't know whether that's really even possible. Okay, but our sisters and mothers will know. I want to develop an app that all I just do with the app is I just basically put it on and I identify all the ingredients and something basically move to bring them out from the storage and freezer and then just activate everything together. Okay, that's my idea. That's my idea. And then moving from there, I then suddenly realized that that's the idea I have, but I don't know how to do programming, so I need a programmer. Okay, and the programmer too, again, I don't know anything about programming. So, but the programmer comes up and says, this is another aspect of programming. I can do it up to a part, but I think we will need another so. Okay, fantastic. And then we say, look, we're going to be selling it to the public. We need a strategy to get to the market from this point to that point. I don't know how to get there. I don't know, sincerely. So we need a strategist. And then you are bringing in a strategist to guide and shape the journey. Okay? As a strategist is more basically like, I can say, quote and unquote, a fortune teller. It tries to see ahead what all others have not seen. And then we say, okay, the strategy says, you know what? I can map out the strategy, but essentially I don't know we're going to actually get into the market or how we're going to hit the market and attract the customers. Oh, they say, yes, we need a marketer. But in these days and age, a digital person who can help us develop the content. He or she is not a programmer. He or she is not all that a strategist. But whatever all of you have done, yeah, as part of the team, I can basically take your thoughts, take the app, and convey it into the language the customer will understand. So comes up with content build up and then defining the channels and knowing, I don't know how my traffic is on Instagram. He or she knows. So these are decentralized inputs all coming in. Then you have diverse opinions. In between diverse opinions and decentralized inputs, there are enormous crises that goes on. So you hear things like, are you telling me what I know? You see, that's the problem. I don't like to work with people that really tends to be like too no. You poke nose into this, you poke nose. This can get, the collaboration can burst in between diverse opinions and decentralized inputs. And then you have the independents. You have the independents who just, maybe as the promoter of the idea, just basically in a way has figured out everything in his head and is running. Well, why you have the strategy saying, wait, we need to iron out this bit, or the marketer is saying, no, I need to understand you guys. Yes, I have understood you guys up to this point, but I don't understand the rest. He said, how will you say you don't understand the rest, for goodness sake? Come on. How can you say you don't understand? You went to school now. So all of this, in that funnel, the funnels can actually break break or burst, or the funnel can actually come together well synchronized with the process of information aggregation, a mechanics to effectively direct and ensure that what is set in view is achieved. And that's what brings about collective intelligence. So with that, with collective intelligence, we presumed that a team is in operation, effectual, and all of them, their eyes are onto the goal. So the head cannot tell the eyes cannot tell the nose, I don't need you. Neither can the nose says that you are useless. The entire sensory systems of each person have been well infiltrated and connected, and they are alive to the collective responsibilities. So that takes us to collaborative essentials. If we've understood this, because we will be shifting in between these two, if we've recognized the individualities of each member, and we've also broken down the work processes into respective elements, which are basically the decentralized skills now relative to the inputs as required, the marketer, the developer, the programmer, the strategist, the finance person, and what have you. Like I was saying, I was talking with this entrepreneur into an app project. Of course, the blood is, if I tested the blood and I basically realized that he is full and filled. He understands clearly where he is going. The mind is clear. And in fact, when he's talking with you, you are blown up. But in all of the delivery as he was talking, I realized that, and this is in alignment with what a strategist has told him, I realized that, hey, wait. I want you to identify for me the pots. When you have identified the pots of this idea, then I also want to now understand the kind of meat that is in the pot. Is it cow meat? Is it bone meat? Is it chicken? Is it turkey? Or it's a combination of meat, chicken, pork, fish, all combined together in one pot. Then my next question will be, how big is this pot? Then from there, I begin to ask, how can we secure this pot? These details, the programmer picks and says, yes, now I understand. And he's able to walk through. We can develop an app and we appreciate our sensualities. And yeah, we're not making money. Or the competitor out there, just pick what we have done, put it in a proper perspective of sellability and common value, and run with it. And that happens most times. So the greater part of the work is here. Yes, under skills, different skills are coming together. And every of these skills must be appreciated. The idea muter, the idea mobilizer is a unit within the composite structure of all of the available skills. That's why I asked the question, if you know it all, then go alone. But if you know you don't know it all, and you cannot pretend over it, then collaborate. But if you know that you can go it alone with networking support of certain skills, and those targeted skills are available for you to just informally network them without compensating for their inputs, that's fine. But just know that it's going to be giggle. What you put in is what you get out. Garbage in, garbage out. These skills coming together must have a definite goal in place, and it must be specific. We've heard about SMART. the goal must be smart, simple, clear enough, no ambiguity, no ambiguity. It must be measurable, and all of the elements that need to be fulfilled must be in there. It must have a time bound. Not just tell me our goal on this app is for us to capture Lagos market. Hello, that's no goal. That's no goal. That's just, you are just in the midst of nowhere. What are going to be your fundamentals to measure that you are actually capturing Lagos or not? It's a bit ambiguous. But if your goal is that we want to launch this app, get to this market, and we are looking at a $200,000 revenue at the end of the first year, fantastic. That does not mean that's just going to be the only thing that you have, that you have set in place as the goal, but at least we know your direction. You must have a broad vision of where you are actually heading to. And all of this must be effectively communicated, shared among yourselves. No under-table thing. There's nothing like, transparency must come to play. There's nothing like, well, actually, I didn't tell you guys all, because I wanted to know whether we are all in this together. Hey, hello, no. You've got to lay all the cards on the table so that they can take their bite, whether this is a journey they want to take with you or not. And then from there, we can then go into creativity, innovative disposition, heading towards research to begin to, which is what we talked about here as decentralized inputs. Each of the skill sets in the collaborated team have definite things to go and begin to look into, and until we all come together into generating a collective intelligence that would drive us into an effectual collaborated team, and we are heading out. After this slide, I will just stop like about 3 minutes to take views. So what therefore will be details in this regard relative to collaboration? We're going to be talking about networking very soon, just dealing with this. This we are talking about are all in relation to an investment or an existing business idea, an existing business. So it falls into three. Something that we need to go into. Many of us are fearful now, so we're asking ourselves, I need to go into this. From the preliminary studies relative to this ADAPT 2.0, we've tried to find out what are you looking out for here. And I got a lot of feedback to investment opportunities, profitable investment opportunities. No consultant, no coach that really knows what he's talking about or what he's trained on to do will come forth and just says, go into spare parts business. In fact, that is what is in vogue now. The best any consultant or coach we do is to guide you right from what you are passionate about. You must have something within yourself. There must be something that is of interest to you, which is when you come up with that, then we can begin to build a process around that to evaluate, to check, to analyze, and into further details. So each person, you know your capabilities, you know your thoughts. Your thoughts are not my thoughts. My thoughts are not your thoughts. So I'm not going to be, the best I've done at the last session, and in this session, I repeated it in one of the slides, is to come up with all manner of investment ideas. All manner of investment ideas. I'm sure going through that long list, it should be able to quicken something in you to say, oh yeah, I can get into this. Your question then could be like, but I don't know whether there is enough market around here. Okay, at least you have moved. You have come up with something you are very much interested in. That when you hear it, it just excites you. You have not seen money. Okay, but not a copycat approach. Not that, you know what's in vogue now? Oh, it's go-kada that is in vogue. Really? If I can get 5 Okadas, from 5 Okadas, I'm telling you, they can just bring in some 2,000 or 3,000 in a day. I made 5,000. I've made 15,000. 15,000 times 12, 180,000. Oh boy, I have hammer. 5,000 times 30 days from them. That is 15,000 times 30, 450,000. Really? Multiply it by 12, 5.4 million. Oh boy, I have hammer. What else am I looking for? You have no hammer. You have no hammer. You are not there. That's copycat. You don't know what led to that business you want to copy, what brought it about. I will share an experience. When I went into logistics some years ago, I left every other lucrative job I was doing because I was a banker. I was doing very well. I was in the finance world. And but every day I was just restless. My passion was all about logistics. I want to get it done. I sleep it, I was eating it, I was dreaming it, I was actually driving it. And I took the bold step. I left whatever I was doing and I went into it. I started with one vehicle, just one bus. And by God's mercies, 3-4 years down the line, we were already having almost about 20 something in our fleet. And everybody was like, wow, Ola has gone. See, he has. And the funniest thing about logistics is this, because you see the brand everywhere, even when you have only seen 10, you counted, you've only seen 10, your sensory imagination extrapolate it into 100. And people started giving different figures. When we were 20 something, people said, oh, man, that guy is gone. They have about 250 vehicles. And the other person that probably knows me very well said, no, 250K. No, he said, I am telling you. I was there, I am telling you. So you get some of those feels. Meanwhile, I have a friend. This friend of mine did not know what led me to what I was doing. And on the side, he just felt like, oh, Ola has broken through this. That's also what I would do. And he too went and bought a vehicle. And then he started to struggle. And he started connecting to one or two persons I know to please help get the forms, the records, the type of forms I'm using to do things and things like that. And they were getting it. But of course, there's a problem. You do not know what the forms are to do. The forms are in place to drive my management information system, my reports, specific things I want to track, things I want to control. They are to serve as my instruments of managing the business. So you get the forms, you printed it, and you are still not there. So I will not subscribe. You just copy anything. But of course, some are super smart. You can copy and copy well. Fantastic. You will not be charged for plagiarism. Go ahead. But if you know that you actually want to succeed in the investment world, the same question that God asked Moses, I will ask you. What is in your hand? What do you have in your hand? Oftentimes, we don't recognize what's in our hand. So what's in your hand? In terms of your potentials, your interests, your skill, your passion, what you feel you can do and drive and take you to where you want to be. So, and as you establish that, then you now need to ask your questions. Do I need to work with some other persons, one or two or three? What do I really need? Is it finance? Is it some specific skills? Is it support? Or you are somebody that has a nature that you just do not know how to go it alone. You always like support. There are persons like that. So under this, we look at collaborative detailing. Remember, these are all of the elements in the collaboration process that is aimed towards delivering specific measurable success. So what kind of help do you need? You see that shaded in blue? What are you aiming at? You see the arrow of growth? And in the scale of the helps, in the scale of help you are looking for, you probably have seen one, you've hit it. The other one you actually don't know. Is it money? Is it strategy? So you need to, and as you put all that together, you brainstorm. As you brainstorm, there's a coming together. You see that beside the growth, there's a coming together. And you can see a bigger wheel and then two smaller wheels. But as the smallest of those wheels you see there is as critically important as the bigger wheel. If not, the bigger wheel will skid off. And what is the proportion of contribution? What is the proportion of contribution? What kind of partner do you need? In the triangular structure, are we alignable? Are we together? So this makes you to begin to ask fundamental detailing questions. What is in view relative to the mission and the vision? What are the specific goals? Is it something that captivates your interest, or you just want to belong because you have to belong? That's dangerous. Or you want to belong because your friend has belonged? That's dangerous. Another experience here is also in the house. A very, very good friend of mine, and was called up to being part of a farming investment, an investment in a farm. Of course, she's not a farmer, but of course, she's been convinced, and everybody pulled up together. And typical of her, she ran it with me, and we discussed it extensively. And certain questions I asked, very fundamental questions, and some of those questions we will see as we go on here. And I cannot forget what she told me in one of the many things. She is a very peaceful person, so she wouldn't want to rock the boat unnecessarily. But equally so, I know when she gets to her wit's end, she's never shy from taking decision. So the question was, how do you know all of you are just contributing money to this one person? What are the measurable processes that will guide you people to know that the money that is being put into this farm is going into the farm? What's the end point? What if this guy takes all of this money and goes to go and do something else? And the answer was like, well, I know I've done the bit. Or what do I do? I just wanted to make sure I invest. No. Resources are very scarce now. You can't, it's not just about you just want to invest. These critical skills of today should guide every one of us to know what you are going into and why. And the only stupid question is the unasked question, is the question that was not asked. That's the only stupid question. So every other question is valid. So what is the mission? Number two, who and who will I be involved with? And that's critical. We're going to see where that plays out. Who and who will I be involved with? Who are they and why? No sentiments, please. Who are they and why? No pretenses, no cover-ups. Because investments are like blood. Once you give it out, there is a flow. And you don't want to get offended, injured, or bruised. What will be the required systems to drive this investment in terms of the structure of the investment or the business idea or the existing business? The systems. The system talks about the processes, the procedures, the mechanisms to delivery, the staffing, how many people will be required, who and who are they putting together? Is it my niece, my nephew, my junior, senior nephew, my junior cousin or senior cousin? Then you already know, so that you have, that's why I said no pretenses, no cover-ups. Tell us who the staff in are, who and who are working with you now, who and who are you targeting to work with, so that you may probably just say, you know what, nothing in this for me. You know, one of the things I love watching is the Shark Tank, you know, and just like the Lion's Den. These are investors, and these are questions they ask. If you have, why do they ask these questions? Some more deeper, before you can actually be able to draw their resources out. Nobody wants to give our resources to somebody you cannot trust, or a shaky trust, or somebody that does not have integrity because it's my brother or my sister, we fellowship together. No, please. Or somebody that is not transparent enough to give adequate and workable information. And when you now start to ask questions, how many stumps of yam did you say you guys planted? Okay. You said in one of your group chats that you are going to, in between the stems, you are going to plant granite. Did you do? Okay. How many granites? But what about the beans that you said will also be? So did you invariably start the poultry because you said you are going to need the manure from the poultry to support the farm? And then the guy blows up and says, you know what? Am I in a panel? Am I in a panel? I told you guys that we need more money. Let's talk about that. I know what I'm doing. Very soon now, we all begin to laugh. And then you are asking me questions, asking me questions. Is this EFCC? Sorry, friend, is it EFCC? EFCC. So let's get the style of control, the style of the business. How much is required? That's another thing that also have plagued us a great deal. We don't like talking about money. But of course, we're not collaborating for charity, please. We're not if it is for charity, I can do charity alone. So let's talk about the money business. How much do you require from me? What, and that amount you want from me, what is the percentage hold in the business? Okay, how did you establish the percentage? How much other people are bringing? What is the share capital? So if the share capital is 2 million, what is required for the business is 2 million, that's fine. How much do you want from me? Okay, if I'm contributing 400,000 and you are telling me that my 400,000 is representing just I'm 10%. No, now I went to school. That's 20%. 20% of the 2 million is 400,000. And then you are telling me that there's going to be the reserve capital. Reserve for who? Let's talk about it. What are we expecting? Show me the cash flow. Show me the financials. If, as the Lord will spare us, as we go into deeper adapt sessions, we'll be able to see the interplay of money, monetary investments coming into like a funnel like this, and what should come out is either profitability or loss. No problem. Remember, under collaboration, we share the benefits, we share the losses, we share the risks. But let me know what I'm getting into. So define the tasks, the timelines, and the target. It's a teamwork. Therefore, communicate. There is a slide or two under communication. Communicate. Set the plans. What are the sharing ratios? Put it into a workable and defendable agreement. There must be a written agreement. Not as the Spirit leads. I agree. Unfortunately, I'm still human. So I am praying towards becoming totally spiritual, 100%. But before then, put it in writing. Let me have the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, signed by all the parties. Let it be drawn up by a lawyer. And I will tell you that if there is need be, there might be the need to create legal relations, legal interpretations at the court of law or at an arbitration with this document. Declare expressly, you are brothers and sisters, yes. Yes, you fellowship together, yes. Don't be caught up in the emotions of, wow, I was surprised. I was surprised. Can you imagine? Gozie was asking me to go and do a write-up. And he asked me that we should give it to a lawyer, that we should sign an agreement. I couldn't, and I thought we are covenant brothers, you know. We are still covenant brothers, my brother. We are very covenant. We are very covenant, but put it down. And then document. Some of us don't like documentation. We like to explain it away. No, document it. Okay? So when I'm asking for document, don't feel offended. After all, when you needed me, you came over to me. So don't feel offended. So building successful collaboration, let's just recap quickly. Set clear expectations. What are your expectations? Set it. Clearly define the roles and integration of everyone. Yeah. And don't presume. Okay, that's very much important. Don't presume. Don't assume. Be clear. Be very clear and be detailed. Give the partnership room to grow. Don't be overtly demanding at the early times. A business is like a baby. Give the baby room to stabilize. Okay? Let every involving hand contribute to tenderly nurture it. Honesty and transparency are critical values of the relationship. So keep aside, hide nothing. If you know you have tendency to keep things aside or hide something within something, then you are not ripe for collaboration. Effective communication is key, clear, frequent, oral and written, consistently updating. Put in place conflict resolution mechanisms. These are mechanisms because remember, even Bible also says offenses will come. Offenses will come. But if there be offense, if there be a conflict, that should not make an end of the collaboration. Your conflict resolution mechanism should have been defined in your working agreement, your MOU, or the shareholders agreement, or partners agreement. There are sections defined there. Financing in terms of fund, task and targets, task and responsibilities of each partner defined. Every other thing defined. In case of conflict resolution processes, we'll need to go back to our trustee, our spiritual guide, or we need to report to our community OPC, yeah, or something. There must be a process, or we are heading straight to arbitration, or whatever, but define it. Make room for training and development so that you all can be growing as they go on. I am talking to a small group of 4 people now, I'm still talking to the idea muter, and I've told him I'm going to be engaging all other persons involved in this so that an appropriate strategy can be put together, a workable plan. It gives you so much rest, so much rest. So do that so that there can be a growing and a balancing of the team. And then, of course, put in place all the necessary legal frameworks and also regulatory processes. The structural pillars should be established. The structural pillars for behavioral guidance and also for compliances. Structural pillars in the sense that, okay, if we have occasions of 2 partners in conflict, though it's not affecting the entire team, but 2 of the partners are at loggerheads, what do we need to do? What is going to be standards of behavior expected from each partner? Okay? And they have a mutually considered trustee. who will serve like an arbiter. Yeah, not God, but is there to mediate, to reconcile. Is your go-to person. All of you have mutual, maybe one, maybe two. And I give an example here. I have had cases where people come to me from the house and say, yeah, actually, I've been called into this, and I'm interested. Oh, I'm very much interested. But there's a guy that's already there. We don't gel. We don't gel. So I don't want to be in there. How do we solve that? Or the partnership has already taken off, and then somewhere along the line, something happens. You say, I said it. This is why I don't want to belong here. This one I do. No, don't say that. Remember, even Bible says, iron will sharpen iron. As we collaborate, a lot will learn from each other. We're going to rub shoulders. We're going to bruise each other. But that should not be the end of the deal. So these, in a summary, are building processes for successful collaboration. I don't know if there are questions here now. Questions, if any. Hello, am I still here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, please, I want to be sure that we are together.
So please, if we have questions, let's use the raising hand option.
So that it will not be monologue, it can be, but if we are all good, that's good for me too. So we can just go on. But if we get to any point, please just raise up your hand so that I can see it. Okay, let me share this with you. It's very explanatory. It took me time to break it down in forms, so that even without explaining, you can just understand. And feel free, if you want to take a snapshot of each of these slides, you can always snapshot. Bruce Tuckman established this so many years ago on team development. Just for you to understand that crisis is part, conflict and crisis are part of the collaboration building process. Whether networking or whether just two partners or 3 or 4, there is the first step of forming. The forming is, there's an ideal setup. So there's someone who has an idea and therefore has something set out on his mind. Then the next is to build and connect. So a team is formed. And then for established processes, there is a coming together, an introspection, and then a training so that they can all get into a proper will into will. Then that takes them into a storming time, a storming period. Please note this. In each of these developmental process, some could just be within weeks. Some could be within days. And I tell you, some could just be within hours of coming together. They are already in a stormy process. And what about this? Each person is trying to feel the called out into the something, trying to find their respective places. There is excitement and optimism. There is also doubt and worry. So there is observations going on. Some persons are very good and sharp in observation, studying the nuances. For me, if you blink your eye 3 times, to you, it means something. To me, I might say, what happened to you? Is it that dust enter your eyes? And where you are giving me sign, I don't know. So all of this will create, there will be a rubbing of shoulder, a conflicting, a storming process. Then they begin to settle. That's when you hear things like, you know what, we have begun to understand ourselves. That's why one of the things I grossly encourage is teaming, training, talking, sharing. It helps a lot. Effective communication. So in the process of norming, we are coming together. There is combined motivation now. running through from one person to the other, there is a bonding. And that is giving out energy for innovation, energy for creativity, because now we can begin to feel each other in a more spectacular way. Okay? And then they begin to perform because they are hitting a trajectory that is just awesome. So they're beginning to get things done. There is now focus on the goal as much, getting things out there to fulfill the goal. There's recognition of efficiencies. All the parties jointly supply. Efficiencies permit me to say that we all come together where what? Every joint supplies. And then we get into a journey. If it's just a temporary structure, they can adjourn. They can then reflect this. But if it's a continuing drive, goals fall into goals. As you've achieved this preliminary goal, the goal in the first year is achieve market launch, achieve 100 customer base. It is not that achieve 1 billion naira profit. Those are measurable. Achieve product launch, achieve 100 customer base. Once you've achieved that, you adjourn to anticipate into future goals again. Okay, we'll now be going it, expand into 500 customers, achieve a good customer service that reduces customer complaints to not more than 10%. Good, that's measurable. And then 3, break even, get into profit. That becomes a new goal. The team comes together again and marshal out what you've achieved before. The strategies you adopted that brought you to your first level of goal might not suffice, but they are enough experience to take you through the next one. So plan on improving. And then there is an involving. Before you know it, they're celebrating our 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. That's going to be wonderful. And from there, we get into our differences. What brings it about? What are things that influences the way we behave, our nature, and what are our personality traits? And this personality, how do they impair into our effectiveness in a collaborative workforce? This is broken down. We're not going to spend too much of time here. I purposely make sure I got out this slide because it's easy to capture. You can snap it. The 4 personalities types you have here, that's also what is defined in the other matrix, in the other box here. And that box basically going by the way they are called. I'm sure some of us, we've heard and learned a lot about that. I can tell you that my wife can lecture for a whole scenario of time for 1 year on this, and she will not get tired because she's well schooled in it. So it's a deeper thing. It can change things, it can enhance things, it can break things if we don't understand it. So for those of us who are already together in a working group, or you're about going into a working group, or you're about starting your idea and you don't know whether to go it alone or go together, this is a very critical and helpful tool. Bottom line here is knowing who you are, knowing who you are and who others might be, and also all that coming to be of good knowledge, driving wisdom and understanding. There are personalities that are drivers, fantastic drivers. These ones, as you see them by what they bear there, they get things moving. It's just to mobilize everybody. And then there are the analytical ones. These are oftentimes strategists. They are very cautious. They are precise. You don't rush them. You don't create information overload or bamboozle them with too much of words. They will say, wait, slow down, slow down. They are precise. They are deliberate. And they can question. In fact, they can question the dead will awake. I tell you, because the dead will just get tired and say, you know what, this is it. And these analytical persons or personalities are critical in a team. They are oftentimes those ones that slow the speed down so that there is no crashing out. They slow the speed down so that there is no crashing out. So it's important. And then there are the amiables. The amiables here are basically, they're very caring. They won't rock the boat. Okay, they're not going to rock the boat. Where there is fun, you know, these are the ones that just want to ensure that there is no temporizing. And then you have the expressive. Of course, these are the popular ones you call the sanguine. They are very social. They're very cheerful. They bring life to where there seems to be no life. So when you have a coming together of personalities like this, now let's ask these questions. What happens when in a group of 4 or in a group of 3, 2 of them are phlegmatic? They are just there. They are flags. I can tell you, it's going to take God to get you achieve your dream. You know why? Because they can procrastinate. Things can get a bit, but they mean no harm. In the same way, where you meet a choleric and there are 3 or 2 in a group of 3 or 3 in a group of 4. Oof. But when we see those who are the melancholic, the deep thinkers, the detailing person, the analytical, people really don't stand them for too long because they believe they are being too pokey. Whatever it is, the dynamics of this is to enable you to know. Again, does that mean I have to be looking around for, please, oh yeah, I'll tell you, are you a flag? So I can know now, because we don't gel. No, that's about it. But when we know each other's personalities, we become more tolerant. We become more accommodating. We can make excuses for each other. And we can basically get to know that we need each other as complementary partners. So this is very critical, to know things that influences nature and also on the strength of various personalities. These are collaboration danger signs. If you begin to see any of these signs before you get skipped off the cliff, please watch out. If you begin to see this, because it happens oftentimes. So don't pretend. Please, don't pretend. Don't pretend. Where you see any of this manifesting, immediately address it if you can. Long wait times between communication. I'll get back to you on Tuesday, and they never get back until the following Wednesday. You have a hunch, your instincts, something is telling you that something is wrong. Don't throw it away, validate it. You get inconsistent information. What he told you 2 weeks ago is different from what he's telling you now. And when you are drawing the attention to the report that was posted to the group on WhatsApp, he's telling you that you are taking it out of context. So you guys are always having issues. You can't get a hold. No one is taking responsibility. Everybody just leave it. But I thought that, no, Lekan, you're going to do it. No. I thought that you and Yemi had sorted it. No, it was Innocent that said, and that begins to define The way things work is dangerous. Squabble over minor details and issues. No one talks about money. Guys, talk about money. No one is talking about money. That's pretense. Inadequate lack of feedbacks. Inadequate or lack of feedbacks. Bait and switch. What that basically means is what he tells you now, and you guys have discussed and established, when he's putting it into writing, he has changed it. And you're like, this is not what we discussed. No, maybe you didn't understand me. Watch out. Lack of response when you call for. No questions, no concerns. Is there anyone having here? No questions, no concerns. That tells you that maybe that person is passive or just outrightly uninterested. Is just there to fulfill all righteousness. It's dangerous. Frequent arguments over non-disclosure issues. You have conflicting values. That's why you must understand each person's personalities. You have conflicting values. The sanguine is saying, hey guys, we've been on this thing for 2 weeks. Can we please hang out? Let's meet at a Chinese restaurant and please and you are like, Chinese what? No. And everybody's like, and the analytical is coming so strong. This is waste of money. I don't believe in this. And so many other things. Try and understand that if that's going to characterize the way you are, or you begin to see the signs, watch out. Always raising issues and problems, yet we never prefer solutions. Always raising issues. Always. Problems, but never prefer solutions. And if all this be, okay, it still may not yet be enough to create everybody to attend to Israel. We can do this. Don't mind the lady jumping on the table. Just bear. I have to use something to represent a real fight, a conflict. You know, the temperament level, okay. Don't let me say it. I take that back. I don't want to say the temperament level of our women can be hot sometimes, but that's just a conflict out there. How can you handle it in face of conflict and resolutions? One, address issues early enough. Communicate, reach out, yet be calm. Have a positive mental disposition in your team. Determine your priorities. Is this really going to work out for me? Does it really fall within the sublime of my 70% attention span? Determine it. Do your journey review. How far have I come into this? How much have I expended? Time, resources, money? Do I want to let it go? Or we're going to sort it out here? Do your journey review. Take out time to talk. Talk and keep talking. Share with each other. Learn to forbear and to forgive. Don't be hard fixed, okay? Don't be hard positioned. Learn to accommodate. Refer to your agreed conflict resolution process in your agreement and try and follow the due process. Seek professional help. That's where you can bring in your trustee, your go-to meet, your go-to leader, your guide. Reflect and pray about these issues. It's never out of place. The Holy Spirit might humble you to know that you are the one that is a bit too hyper. Okay? And be willing to walk away. If you can't come to terms with this, cut your losses. Hard to do, but you can do that. And if so be it, make it a clean split. As defined in your shareholders agreement, and not only that, don't spread the bad news. Don't polarize issues. Don't report people to people. And that takes us to number 12, why there's always a tomorrow. So keep the bridge. Don't burn bridge. If I'm getting out of here, I will scatter this thing. Don't scatter. Don't scatter. Think of tomorrow. You may actually be back there again. Time will not permit, time will fail me because we are rushing up now. Um, I will have shared on Steve Jobs of Apple. Yeah, how he left where he was before, how he was pushed out, and then went out, did some other things, came back again, and ended up to own the place. So always keep the bridge. I can give so many examples. And in any of these, please do it in style. Why do I say make it in style? The covenant is still in place as we are children of the same parents. We are brethren. Whatever we do in our secular will impact on the spiritual. So bear your mind, hold no grudges, keep no malice, do it in style. And I'll share an experience quickly with you. Some years ago, I was called into an investment. These are my people. We're all in the same house. And when I say the same house, we're in this same household of faith. We're all Christians. And the roles were defined. I was to handle strategy, this was to handle this, that is to handle that. And what we couldn't get in partners, we brought it in by way of staff. That's also possible. Okay, so, and the journey started. All of the setup, all of the preliminary issues, we were all deeply involved, even with prayers. But unfortunately, when business began to click, information was no more flowing the way it's supposed to flow. So the first business came into place, and now, instead of 4 or 5 of us, decision was now being taken by just 2. And, oh, no, don't say it that way. Things will waver off. But these are signals. Don't throw away your signals. And that builds on to a momentum in which I began to feel a stranger, a complete stranger in the business. And things were going on. But of course, these are still my people. We are brothers and sisters of the same parents. That's the meaning of brethren. So I exited, I bore my mind, but I made sure the bond of spiritual connection is unbroken. And we are still together today. But of course, what comes out of that? We are together now on a bigger scale. So let's always keep that to mind. There's a tomorrow. That's so much we've done on collaboration. I'll just quickly run through this on networking. It's relatively straightforward. Still coming from the premise of the understanding we've established, there are different types of networking events. How do I get to, okay, I want to go alone, but I need to consistently network with certain persons or skills or capacities or competencies or connections. These are, then you must try and identify networking events. If you cannot get networking referrals to say, oh, okay, go and see so and so. I have a client now that's talking to me, wants to go into hair business. And initially came up and said, oh, you know what? I have set the date to launch out this is by middle of so and so. And this is this. And I said, oh, everything is figured out. He said, no. Everything is not figured out. Oh, you already have a date? He said, which date? I realized it's in about 2 weeks' time. I said, okay. Have you actually seen a hair business run? He said, no. Have you talked to anyone in the hair business to know how it works? He said, no. So what are you getting into? Do you have a friend that is in this? Not really. There are other celebrities that are in it. I said, well, I know someone in it. If you don't mind, number one, that date will not work. If you want me to guide you through this, that date will not work. I know somebody who is doing it. You need to network and learn. And I'm sure she will gladly want to take you through, at least. But her time is much precious. So you will need, it's not going to be in the same disposition that you're going to be related. So, but I know one or two persons that can take you through this. Have an understanding first, so that when you know the throughput in a measure, you come back and sit down to know whether this is really what you want to do. So try and identify networking events, such as breakfast meetings. Try and identify with chambers of commerce, different chambers of commerces. They hold breakfast meetings. Nigeria, South Africa Chamber of Commerce, Nigeria, British Chamber of Commerce, Nigerian, German, like that. Industry-specific engagements for lectures, trade shows. There's a trade show that's on fashion that is coming up so and so. I know one of GTB, they always organize something on food show and also on fashion. Identify with it. Through those attendance, you network. You pick up business cards, you pick up profiles, you reach out to people, you hear lectures. You are not going to be the same. Roundtable events, very soon, in the coming weeks, I will be hosting some regular roundtable events. And I will let everybody in the house know, in which we basically just sit down. It could be at a breakfast, a sort of a breakfast roundtable. It could be lunch. It could be evenings. It could be a weekend. We just sit down in a small cluster and brainstorm. Roundtable events where we can share information. Old schoolmates grouping, alumni meetings, because in your alumni, you basically see other persons that have become a lawyer, become a banker, and wow, this guy is a general manager now. So, and you say you're having finance problem. Some other persons have actually succeeded and blown big in what you wanted to do. Call-up meetings. LinkedIn is a very good platform, a very good medium to build strong networks. On your LinkedIn, it's not just about posting what you feel or reposting, or connect. Okay? There are different types of network events. Some are web-based events. Some are channel events, sponsorship and reward events. There are customer conferences, trade shows, and I need to change that color there. Live events, which you can attend. These are all different kinds. There are lots and lots of events. If you use your Instagram handle well, you use your Facebook well, you use your Twitter well, yes, LinkedIn well, you will connect. What are advantages of your networking? Access to information. You can gain speed in your commercialization process, actualization of your business idea. That's where you see parts coming into parts, just like jigsaw puzzle. A puzzle here, a puzzle here, a puzzle here, and you can get something off ground. And so many other things you can learn. How you can make money from what you want to do. Access to markets and technologies that can be of advantage to you. These are various kind of advantages you can crap out. Okay. There are considerations also, just as we did on the brainstorming, when we deal on collaborative detailing, things you should check through, some sort of your checklist. So also in networking, there are things you should look out for. One, choose an event that aligns very well with your goal. There's no point for you going to a social event and you just realize you're going to waste your time. There's no point for you want to set up a pharmacy shop, a pharmacy business, and you went on to sit at a fashion show, yeah, or a food event where there are so many foodies. Okay, ask yourself what you need to learn at such events. Find out where the right people will be and try and be there. Yeah, and find a conference or an event that fits well into your personality and business goals. If you are a highly reserved person, you are more of a loner, you just love your seclusion, you might probably not be given to attending some social business kind of events. So try and get what fits, create a balancing effect so that you don't find yourself in an event that does not genuinely align with your aspirations. Um, I basically just shared this here. I repeated it. Essence of repeating this here is, like I said, many of us are having an expectation that, oh, at a seminar or at a lecture or at an event, I'll be told what to do. No. God gave three people different kind of capacities. He did not tell them, this is what I want you to go and do specifically. But for those he told, they inquired. That's why it is about ask, it shall be given. He is divine. For me, as a consultant, as a coach, I may not freely just come up to you and say, why not go and invest in A, B, and B business? A bed and breakfast kind of business. Yeah, you can just have a place of about 10 rooms, and that's fine, like a home setting. And with the home setting, all you just provide there is breakfast. You can contract the breakfast part out to a caterer. So the rest, you just need about 3 people to work with you. They do the beddings. You have the laundry at the back. And then just try and market it that if you don't, in these days of COVID, you don't want to stay in hotels because you don't know who has used it. You don't want issues. So all you just want is a kind of an home setting. In that one, then you'll be able to, through marketing, you'll be able to get into some kind of investment like that. Your business becomes it. Don't say everybody eats now. Food is what matters, or food is it. And then everybody is going to food business. Then you also go into it. But what I can do as a coach or as a consultant to you is help you find your path, help you find your way. So we won't have to meet. These days, things have been simplified. Send me a note. Just send me a mail. My mail is at the end here. Once you drop a mail, we can fix an appointment, and then we Zoom so we can see each other, so I can get your feelings right. And then if you tell me what you are passionate about, yes, you have fears. We will then, my role is to guide and truly see that, okay, I can bring my experience then to bear. That, okay, from market studies, it appears there's not enough meat here. But if you can repackage it this way, or try and bring in the components of this into this, that begins to give you a good pot. And inside the pot, a good meat. But the pot you are carrying now, there's meat. There's meat, but it's not sustainable. And because it's not sustainable, the question then is, will it worth your energy, your resources, your time, and your expectations? But I will not be able to come to you and say, oh, go into freelance, go into programming. Everybody is learning programming now, even lawyers. But I'm not sure I can understand that language. So I don't want to. I will continue to use lots of programmers in the house to drive what I want to drive. So, but I basically share this here so that we can all see enterprise ideas. They are extract. This is not overtly conclusive. No, it's not. There are lots of others. But when we begin to talk, we can then get ourselves on the right path. My role will be to facilitate, to guide, to be sure that this path will worth the while, and then identify the risk. But like a very good mentor coach do always say, he says, If you want me to work with you, then you also be prepared to work for yourself and for me. In the sense that it's not going to be like a dump site. You just dump everything. You say, but I gave you everything the other time and you say you're going to help me. No, 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 no. We will have to create time. It's about you. And if it is that you are looking at investments you want to put your money in, as it were, then this also helps you. It opens up your mind to see different kind of businesses. You can research into some of them on your own leisure time. What kind of research? I give you. Use your Google well. You can basically say risks associated with book writing and publishing. Google will give you something. You read. That has enhanced your knowledge. Pitfalls of running a clothing business. Enter. It gives you some things. When somebody comes up, Rosalind comes up and sometimes say, oh, brother, this is what I'm getting into now, but I need help. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. I need just about 250,000 to capital. What do you say is the business? It's so and so and so. How far have you gone? You will be discussing and asking questions that are relevant. It will be too discouraging if you just come up and tell me, having said all that, and all I can tell you is that, nobody's investing now. Nobody's investing. Everybody's just keeping their money. No. No. Are you not in this, with all this pandemic? So with the pandemic, what happens? We'll still live our life, albeit more constructively. So, but I share this so that it can be a catalyst to help your thought process. And if you have come into something and you need some validation, some help, let's talk. And we can take it on from there. Where are we from here? I will have assignments for you, sure. And these are the assignments. You can snapshot it straight away. Do your SWOT, that is SWOT yourself. And what do I mean by SWOTing yourself? Establish your strengths. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are opportunities around you? And what are things that poses as threats to you? The reason why you need to do this is it enables you to understand who you are. So that if collaboration opportunity comes, you know where your strength is and you know what are your weaknesses. And these are not to take you off or discourage you, but it helps you have your balance. So you scale your temperament. It's a sort of a journey to yourself so that it will help you. You will not be an agent of conflict in a network or in a partnership. But having known, it doesn't even matter if your strength is just one. I like that. If all of us does that and 4 or 5 of us comes together, one of the things I will first of all ask in that team is that, hey guys, what are things that readily will generate, could be of an issue to you relative to your personality? So can we all share? Let's talk in an open forum. Open, be clear. Number 2, what is the idea on your mind? I won't tell you specifically. If you go to meet the doctor and you tell the doctor, I'm feeling unwell, because you really do understand what the issue is. He says, I'm feeling unwell. The doctor will not tell you, you're feeling unwell? That's serious. Have you taken hydrochloroquine, or what do they call it? He said, no, go and take that. No doctor will do that. What he will do is to engage you in a discussion to know, how are you feeling? Do you have pains? Where are the pains? Okay, let me examine it. And as he's examining and he sees your reaction, then he begins to draw a line. He sits you back down. At what time of the day do you feel the pain? When you go through all that, his mental structure is beginning to form of what likely it could be. But for him not to make a mess of your life, he would then say, let's do what? Let's run some tests. That's what we do. That's what I can do. You will need to tell me how you feel. What are you feeling? Are you feeling the right feeling? That will put to test. What is the idea on your mind? Number 3, what are you doing with it? Or what do you intend to do with it? What is the outcome on your mind? What's your expectation? Right? If your expectation is just to get something going that basically put food on your table, pay your rent, okay, it will be out of place for me to be taking you through a journey that makes you to establish your branches and network across 5-7 states. Hello? That becomes a problem. Okay? I know some of my business friends in the house now. I am soon going to be calling on them one by one to say, where are you now? I've left them over a period of time because of this COVID. I'm going to get back on them. Some of them already know. Yeah, they probably think I've forgotten. Yeah, so don't pick offense yet that I didn't ask after you. I'm going to start asking, where are you now? What have you done? How are you changing your business model? What are you doing? In the light of this unfolding scenario, what skill have you acquired? How do you intend to redesign your processes to get a maximum out of the market? Number 4, what is best for your idea pursuits? Do you want to go alone or you want to collaborate? If you're already going alone, do you want to expand and your expansion is requiring a collaboration? Then you have journeyed. At that point, you have achieved certain things. So your collaborative terms are not going to be as though you are just starting. So we'll look into that. Number 5, what questions would you like to ask before collaborating? These are very crucial. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with me.
Okay, good evening, sir. Thank you very much for the lecture and for the session. My question actually was for the when you were talking about the guidelines for collaboration and the checklist. What if you have an existing collaboration that is going on fine, and you didn't have this framework in place? Talking about articles of association and all that. Do you advise going back to do that, or if it's working, let it be the way it is?
Thank you very much. That's a very, very, very important question. And I've been expecting that. I will be very upfront with you. That is like a structure, a house built, in which when you set out, everything will purely informal. There is no plan in place. There's no building plan. There's no architectural design. And the architectural design does not, you also don't have a structural design. For those of us who are engineers in the house, you understand. And then the house is set up and everybody is fine. Everybody has shared their rooms and things are going on. By and by, you basically begin to discover that it's either you need to expand the house, and when you need to expand the house, and there is no structural plan already in place that define how and means, you are heading now to a disaster. So my counsel is this: you started well, everything is going on fine, well, but please begin to formalize what was not formal before. The reasons are very obvious. I have a client, I have a case on hand now of 3 partners in an IT business. The IT business is currently at the level of, as of 2019, it's at a level of 355 million in turnover. They started as friends from school, and they got in place a go-to person, a trusted person that acted like they are like a big brother leader to them, who happens to be a very senior director in CBN and therefore connected them to some serious transactions. That's networking. Now, there were no instruments, there were no articles of engagement in place. There's no memo, there are no, nothing. Unfortunately, one of them now fell ill 2018, later part of 2018, and almost be vegetable, assist. How do they move forward? One of the partners says, you know what, let's just compensate the family. Let's give the family 25 million and let's move on. After all, how much was the initial capital? Each of them brought in 5 million. That's 15 million. So let's just give the family 25 million. That will help. The other one says, well, it looks like a big money, but sincerely speaking, this guy, he gave his best. Now listen carefully. This one has said, so if it is me, this thing happens to. So all you will advise is just give the family 25 million. Okay. But it's almost turning them apart. So it was early last year, I have to get a lawyer in place and say, look, you know what? Through a process of talking, because I happen to be their consulting advisor, I began to put the structure into place. Somebody referred them to me when they were already trying to separate things. So put it in place. It's important. It's a gradual approach. And above all, number 3, and before I leave this, we can talk more later to give room to other persons. If you are to expand in a bigger sense and you need financial contribution, more capital, whether political capital or financial capital as it were, what will you say is the article of your structure? It becomes just like a verbal thing. People want to see what is in place. How do I come in? If you are bringing in another essential collaborator, a partner, what is he coming to meet? So the new person doesn't want to, you guys, to begin to sing to his ears that we started this, you are not there. Where were you when we started? What's this? What's that? He knows you started it, but he's coming in now. At what level? So try and define it. It will help you. It will help your family. It will help the futures. Thank you.
Okay.